What's going on, YouTubers? It is your buddy, your pal, Spaz, your YWC reality check here in time for the April 16th Raw review. Before I get going, I want to say one thing. There's going to be a lot of proclamations made in this video, and the first one is coming right now, right off the bat. No, wrestling is not by any means perfect. Yes, I've still got fails in the score fail and MVP column of most of my reviews, but as a whole, and this show solidified it tonight, I love where wrestling is right now. Like I say, there are dings, there are flaws, there are blemishes. As a whole, I'm excited to be a wrestling fan right now. And with that, let's get into the April 16th Raw Super Show review. We're over in the UK this evening, which prompts me to really send a shout out to some of my friends across the pond, to Mark Pearson, to Hannah Banana Bob, Nutty Rock Chick, NJ and Mr. Parkin of the British Fist. All you guys, cheers to you. We started the show with Punk versus Henry, no disqualification for the WWE Championship, and though I don't usually do this on the Raw reviews, I actually did this in rundown form, which I haven't even done for a pay-per-view in a while, so if you will indulge me for a second, here we go. We have loud CM Punk fans, not only chanting for CM Punk, but screaming out CM Punk with the announcer as he was announcing it. I thought that was really cool. If they do that more often than not, I don't really notice it. It was really noticeable tonight. Moving on. Obviously, as you would predict, Henry dominated from the beginning, had his little fair share of, you know, I'm a big guy, I'm a strong guy, I'm going to pound the crap out of you for a while. It's broken up by a suicide dive by Punk. Henry has a spot at the ring corner outside the ring where he's got his head and his shoulder and his, or sorry, he's got Punk's head and shoulder and neck and whatever, and he's abusing them against the ring post, etc. You know, working on his arm, working on his head, you know, working on basically everything that would be affected by the overall dominant, strong style that he uses. Once Punk gets himself rid of that, he has a very nice Jeff Hardy style run the rail clothesline on Mark Henry. Mark Henry tosses Punk full body into the railing as we go to break. We come back in time to see them both back in the ring, and Punk absorbing a full body avalanche from Mark Henry. Mark Henry is then owned with a chair for a couple minutes, and it earns a near fall for Punk. Henry then gets the chair. He gets a couple chair shots on Punk and locks in a bear hug. We have yes chants, not for Daniel Bryan, but oh yes, for my man CM Punk. Oh yes, Punk fights back, gets himself a near fall. The Punk high knee goes for the DDT, and it ends up being countered when Henry tosses him off. Henry runs for Punk. Punk dives out of the way. Henry eats the chair that he himself set up in the corner. We have Punk using the typical, you know, tribute Randy Savage elbow with a steel chair to get the 1, 2, 3 and the win. Still, your WWE champion is Mr. CM Punk. Oh yes, this was a phenomenal, for a free match on a regular Raw that's not even a go-home show for anything, that didn't have any particular thing to set it apart from all the other Raws other than the fact that it was in the UK. This was a phenomenal match to get on free TV, and if it happens again at a pay-per-view at a later date, it would not hurt my feelings in the slightest. Punk wins. Jericho pops up on the Titantron, announces that Jericho and Punk will have a Chicago street fight at Extreme Rules. That made me a happy boy. I'm glad, really glad this rivalry is continuing. Jericho shows some lame-ass phone video footage of Punk going into a pub, Punk coming out of a pub. We never see Punk in the pub. We never see him drinking anything, but the accusations are there from Jericho, and he says he was there to see his friends and have some fish and chips with his friends in the UK, which basically ends the segment, but the chant that goes up from the crowd is fish and chips. We have a big fish and chips chant. It's almost as awesome as Cena's lady parts. Moving on, I really thought I was going to get something I wanted here as John Laurinaitis set up Santino Marella versus David Otunga for the US Championship, and I'm thinking, yes, heel tactics have to win over. We have to get the belt off of Santino Marella. But Santino, who comes out in about 7 or 8 different soccer jerseys to get the cheap crowd pop, has a good match with David Otunga. David Otunga, to his credit, I don't give David Otunga a lot of credit, and I'm not going to even after this Raw, but he looked fucking 10 times better than he deserved to look in this match. But consider that his opponent was Santino. Santino's stupidity and the Cobra get the win, and yeah, but this did a lot to affect my opinion of David Otunga. So who really won? Santino won with goofiness, and you know, The Cobra is kind of like the finger poke of doom. And that's not a good thing, is it? Especially for somebody that's holding a championship. Oh, yes. Next, we had a taped Lesnar interview, and this was phenomenal. No, it wasn't live. No, it wasn't, you know, backstage, you know, just him with a mic. It was a very, very good video package done around this interview that he did. Very first thing that he says in the interview is, "I am not a superstar," which stuck out to me. Because there are people out there, arrogant, petty, opinionated, holier-than-thou people out there that will tell you that superstar and wrestler are the same thing. There are big, big differences. It's like saying Gail Kidd and Kelly Kelly are in the same category. It's like saying Bret Hart and John Cena are in the same category. They're just not, and you know who you are. But he says, "I'm not a superstar, I'm an ass-kicking machine." He goes through his accolades with school, with college, with his early run in the WWE. He spends a lot of time talking about the UFC, which I'm still surprised that they're letting happen. You know, "I'm here to make the WWE legitimate," which I love, because that line alone, "I'm here to make the WWE legitimate," pisses off so many fans, and it makes me smile big. And he says what I've been saying since he came back: "Cena is only big because I left." And it's true, isn't it? Oh yes. Basically, while he's talking about Cena, he says, "I'm not Cena because I'm not fake." Caps off the interview with, "It's not what's going It's not what's going through Cena's mind that matters, it's what's running down his pant leg." And I like that. I like that we're getting short, simple, soundbite awesomeness from Brock Lesnar, who was never the greatest talker in his first run, so good for him. Ryder versus Kane. Basically, it doesn't happen, but they replay the stuff from Throwback SmackDown where Kane took out Cowboy Bob Orton and cost Orton a match, and da-da-da-da. Kane... They're supposed to have a match. Ryder comes in first. He's hanging out on the apron while he watches Kane come in. Kane boots him from the inside of the ring to Ryder standing on the apron of the ring, launches Ryder from the apron to the table, and proceeds to put a beat down on him. You know, 1 or 2 minutes of Kane domination capped off with a chokeslam. The match never even starts. Kane grabs the microphone, cuts a really, really quick promo on Orton that is unanswered, which is kind of lame. But basically, he's like, "I knew it would be easy to take down your dad, but who knew it would be just as easy to take down you, like father, like son," all that kind of thing. We have a spot in the back that really didn't do anything for the integrity of Daniel Bryan, did it? We've got Kofi and AJ talking in the back. Daniel Bryan comes around and says, "Just because I dumped her doesn't mean she's single," or something stupidly retarded like that. Starts trying to step up to Kofi Kingston while Kofi Kingston laughs in his face. Announces that the LaBelle lock is now going to be known as the Yes lock, because that's not retarded. Overdoes the Yes chant in Kofi's face while Kofi's laughing, while the commentators are laughing and calling him an idiot. That's amazing. You know, when not only the guy face to face with you, but the guys behind the microphones that are supposed to be putting you over are all calling you an idiot. Oh yes, he sat there and he screamed like he was really, really, really hoping somebody would take him seriously, and that made me smile a lot. Cena came out, and yes, I tweeted out at the beginning of this segment, "Hey, Cena's coming out to make a promo. Anybody that wants to go to the bathroom can go." I actually wrote down pretty harshly about this. I'm gonna take a step back. There was some intensity in this promo. It wasn't exactly the typical rise against hate bullshit. It was maybe like a smidge and a half above that. It was all the typical rise above hate. "I'm here to fight. I never leave. Da 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 da. Look at me go. Look at me, super champion. And I want to fight." Excuse me, guys. Cuts a promo on John Laurinaitis, because, you know, that's intimidating. He says, you know, John Laurinaitis wants this to be the end of my era. Here's where I have a problem with the promo. Why would you take the cliche that surrounded, let's say, one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time, being Triple H and The Undertaker? I'm not saying it's the best match ever. I'm saying it's got to be maybe top 10 matches of all time. And the credit and credentials and respect that those two men brought into that match that was labeled the end of an era match, why would you use that cliche on yourself so soon after WrestleMania to yank that respect out from under them? I didn't like that at all. Take that out of this promo, and I would have liked this promo. There was a little bit of grit and a little bit of determination and a little bit of some, you know, some Cena with guts in this promo, I guess. But it was really, really more of the same but amped up. So, kudos to John Cena for very, very minor improvements, but I really, him borrowing that phrase and him doing it more than once, and him even going with the yes, yes, yes chants, you know, going along the Daniel Bryan route didn't help him either in my books. Oh yes. Johnny Ace comes out to save us from John Cena and says, "This is the new era. Your era is over. This is the era of people power." Johnny Ace with his people power and trying to be, you know, trying to talk in his completely hushed monotone voice and trying to sound exciting at the same time is amusing in and of itself. Tonight, Cena, you're going to get a warm-up match for your Extreme Rules match with Brock Lesnar. Yeah, it was announced somewhere in the middle of Brock Lesnar's promo that their match was going to be an Extreme Rules match. And I feel like saying, duh, we didn't think that John Cena versus Brock Lesnar was going to be a regular match. But to get John Cena ready for that, John Cena tonight is going to face a mystery opponent in an Extreme Rules match in the main event tonight on Raw. Next week there will be a contract signing for Cena and Lesnar, and next week there's going to be a special 3-hour Raw. I think originally this was supposed to be the draft, and then they moved it, but they promised the people in whatever city they're in next week a 3-hour Raw. So I think now they're getting a 3-hour Raw for no particular reason, which is kind of awesome. But it's going to be delayed an hour because television is lovely up here in Canada. We have a recap of the Punk Henry match earlier tonight and all the Jericho fallout that happened after that because, you know, people weren't watching it an hour ago. We have Kofi versus Bryan. Kofi Kingston looks great in this match. I have not, I will admit this myself, given Kofi Kingston enough credit clearly by watching this match. Kofi looked great. Great initiative, great high spots, great, you know, rolling with the punches. He counters the yes lock into an SOS, which was beautiful. Kofi has... This is where I laughed a little bit because you guys know I do respect Daniel Bryan and his abilities in the ring, for sure. But this made me laugh. Kofi Kingston was jumping around like a jumping bean midpoint in this match where Daniel Bryan was definitely winded, while Kofi Kingston is the more fast-paced, high-flying performer of the two. So the fact that he was the one that still had lots of energy and Daniel Bryan was basically, you know, had himself all blown up and whatever... I don't really know what to say about that. I noticed it enough to write it down, so I thought I'd pop it in there just because. Daniel Bryan sneaks in with a victory with the yes lock. You know, barely steals his victory. Sheamus comes to the ring and he runs like a bitch because WWE seems to love booking him like the cookie-cutter cowardly heel. Moving on, we have Clay versus Ziggler announced. Brodus Clay, the Funkasaurus, versus Dolph Ziggler, one of the best talents WWE has. My first thought... Brodus Clay is going to have a match that's not a squash match, but no, the bell rings, Swagger immediately tries to interfere, the match is immediately called off by disqualification, and the rest of this segment is Vicky fighting with Brodus Clay's accompaniment girls. I don't know who the hell they are, it doesn't really matter, and then being freaked out by the fact that Brodus Clay jiggles and smiles at her, and it's very, very awkward. In the back, we see that Eve Torres wants a one-on-one meeting with John Laurinaitis, and John Laurinaitis accepts and has sort of a creeper look on his face as he accepts. Then, we take a break to do something a little more serious. We reference, once again, like we did on SmackDown, the passing of Chief Jay Strongbow, and I will admit, wholeheartedly, hand on heart, I do not know a lot about Chief Jay Strongbow, but, you know, there's a typical... heartfelt, this is what his career was like, this is what he contributed to the WWE, we're all going to miss him, you know, God bless him and his family and all that sort of thing. Very, very well done, very, very respectfully done. I have no problem with this whatsoever. Kind of makes me wish that I did know who he was, to be perfectly honest. This is where me and a lot of other people are going to go onto YouTube and, you know, try and figure out who he was, but at the moment, it's great that they did it. I really don't have anything of an analytical value to add to that particular segment, but it was great to see it. WWE always does good with the memorial stuff. It falls in line with that. They always do great video packages. They always do great video packages. So to do these memorials that they set up, you know, between that and when they ring the bell 10 times and when they have other people come in and have testimonials, not WWE is very, very good with that kind of stuff. And it, you know, it's one of those things you can just kind of watch it as a wrestling fan and be like, yeah, that was cool. That was good of them to do. The next thing I have very, very mixed thoughts about, and I'll get into my mixed thoughts when I get to Score Fail and MVP, but it was the Great Khali and the Big Show versus Epico and Primo. Epico and Primo, one of them dies for 5 minutes while they try to fight Khali. They try to grab the belts and leave. Show brings them back to the ring. Basically, there's a photo op where a double, Khali and Big Show double choke slam the two Epico and Primo. There's a double choke slam. There's a double pin. Khali and Show predictably win. Did we really think Epico and Primo had a chance? And Big Show and Khali both dance to Khali's music when the match is over, and that's just super awkward because Show's a goof and Khali's got like no usable legs. Moving on. We have John Cena come out for his mystery opponent. He comes out to the ring. John Laurinaitis comes out to the ring and with a lot of respect and hoopla announces that his opponent will be Lord Tensai. So Lord Tensai comes in, his little sidekick worshiper guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'll be perfectly honest, comes out to the ring with him. Laurinaitis, Otunga, and the little worshiper guy are all on the outside, while Lord Tensai and John Cena have an Extreme Rules match in the ring. And good God, I thought this was going to be a Cena squash match, but it really, really wasn't. Tensai owns Cena for most of the match, which made me a happy kid. Owns him for a long while. Cena regains control, but only by stepping outside and using the steps. Attack from Tensai and his little ringside sidekick guy. Double underhook suplex for Cena in the ring. Gets near fall for Lord Tensai. Cena tries for the AA, and oh my God, for a Cena match, this is groundbreaking. Cena tries for the AA. Can't do it because he sells his injured back. Big points for Mr. Cena tonight. Oh, yes. Tries for the AA, fails. 5-knuckle shuffle gets stopped by a chop by Tensai. That made me laugh. Backsplash and a near fall for Lord Tensai, who then applies an armbar to Cena. Otunga comes in. Everything gets broken up. Otunga catches an AA, which gives Lord Tensai a chance to work up the mist or whatever. Missed Cena in the face. Baldo bomb, double-handed choke slam, and Tensai gets the win. Oh, yes. What's this? WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, Raw last week, Raw this week. This is the 4th time in a row that we end a show with Cena on his ass, guys. This is a new era. Faux show. If I can talk like that, which I probably shouldn't. But anyway. And fuck off, because I'm doing a video. Moving on. Score fail at MVP. Starting with the score, as I always do. We started off with a championship match. Always cool. Always, it's the biggest complaint I hear from people that shit on TNA all the time. Oh, well, they always start with a talking segment. And it's like, yeah, well, WWE usually does too. But they started with the championship match, which was great. And what a championship match it was. Taking nothing away from Mark Henry, CM Punk looks stellar in this match. Here's where I'm coming to another proclamation. I've said it sort of tongue-in-cheek for the last little while, and I'm going to say it fully and properly right now. With all due respect to the great Lex Luger, CM Punk is the new total package, and I will tell you why. He can out-main event John Cena, he can out-wrestle Daniel Bryan, he can out-quick Rey Mysterio, and he can out-show off Dolph Ziggler. And if you can do all of those and be only one person, you are the total package. Oh yes, reincarnation of Shawn Michaels happening in front of us, right here and now. Great match. Would not care, would not mind in the least to have this show up on a Big 4 pay-per-view even. Because CM Punk makes Mark Henry look that good, and Mark Henry made a good showing of himself regardless, so good job to Mark Henry as well. Jericho and Punk gets announced. It's going to be a Chicago Street Fight at Extreme Rules. Can't wait for that. Otunga. Like I say, I don't usually give Otunga a lot of credit. Otunga was great in his match with Santino tonight. In the end, ultimately got robbed. My personal opinion. Oh yeah. Lesnar's interview, and this goes back to the whole video packaging thing. It wasn't an interview, it was more like a monologue. And like I say, his verbal skills since leaving the WWE before and coming back now have improved tenfold. And it was a great video package by the WWE. Everybody's saying, well, if Lesnar's coming back, Heyman must be coming back to be his manager. I don't think Lesnar needs him. He really doesn't. He's kind of got Laurinaitis. Fuck off. Doing a video. Anyway, he's got Laurinaitis speaking for him, kind of, but he doesn't need anybody to speak for him. He doesn't need a mouthpiece. He's like Ziggler. Ziggler doesn't need Vicky, but it's good to see. Nothing much happened tonight other than a bit of verbal banter, but the Orton-Kane story, that's going to result in some kind of match at Extreme Rules. If it was still the Attitude Era, I would love to see this end in an Inferno match. Wouldn't that be awesome? Kofi had a great match against Daniel Bryan. Kofi raised his stock a lot tonight, for sure. Cena, or more specifically the John Cena character, is facing legitimate struggles. Each day that John Cena struggles, it picks apart my old arguments that I made in the Cenapocalypse videos, which were valid when I meant them, but now WWE is starting to correct them. So cheers to John Cena, cheers to the WWE. My opinion hasn't changed yet, it's just getting picked at slightly. Fail. Santino's an idiot. That's going to be my fail for every Raw review from now until the end of time, I'm pretty sure. There's a reason. I know what they're trying to do with Cena and Laurinaitis. They're trying to recreate the Austin McMahon thing. And I'm going to tell you why they can't do it. Austin McMahon worked because everybody hated McMahon and everybody loved Austin. The crowd is 50-50 at best for John Cena, and going into WrestleMania, there were a lot of people that were in favor of Laurinaitis winning. So that means Laurinaitis has fans. So he's not 100% despised, and Cena's not 100% loved. That's why recreating the Austin McMahon thing doesn't work. They keep trying to do it. They had it more with Laurinaitis and CM Punk, because everybody was behind CM Punk at the time. 110%. That's why all the Austin Punk comparisons started coming out. But they don't have that with Cena, so they need to stop pretending that they have that. They have something different with Cena. And him facing all these struggles and overcoming them is a good way to attack that. But it does not have that Austin McMahon vibe at all, and WWE needs to stop trying to force an old story and write a new story, because once they start writing a new story, it will be better. Can we believe Daniel Bryan as a true champion? He looks like he barely got away with a victory tonight against a lower carder. Yes, Kofi Kingston is a fun guy to watch. He's a very fun guy to watch. I like Kofi Kingston. I don't always give him the credit he deserves, I will freely admit that. But if you look at his placement in the WWE, unless he's involved in the tag team situation, he on his own is a lower carder. And he looked fucking phenomenal against Daniel Bryan tonight. So Daniel Bryan squeaked out a win and then ran away from the World Heavyweight Champion. Typical cookie cutter heel. Why do I believe him as championship material? There we go. Ziggler. Can WWE please give Ziggler something better to do than, running away from Brodus Clay and being the precursor to Vicky fighting two random chicks? Please. This is a guy that had your WWE title shot at the Royal Rumble not so long ago. This is a guy that unless you catch lightning in a bottle now, it's going to move past the point of no return, and you're not going to be able to take advantage of his athleticism later on, because people are just going to stop caring. People are going to stop caring, people are going to give up hope that you're going to give this guy what he deserves, and not if you do give him what he deserves later on. Sorry, guys. If you do give him what he deserves later on, people aren't going to be able to latch onto it because they think you'll just pull it back again like you've done since the Rumble. The tag match. Now, I don't know whether this goes as a score or a fail from me, because it's been a long time since we've seen tag team wrestling on Raw, period. It's been a long time since we've seen the tag team champions on Raw, period. And it's been a long time since the tag team championship has been relevant at all. This wasn't a championship match, but they were talking about, well, what if it is? What if it was? We could have new tag team champions right now. So we were at least talking about the WWE tag team championships for a little bit. But to put them up against a random team like Big Show and Khali, which you knew was going to be a joke of a match, when you have two legit teams that got brushed off the WrestleMania card, when you've got Hawkins and Rex, and yes, everybody laughs at me for keeping on putting on hope in these guys because they're only on NXT, toss them on Raw, toss them on SmackDown for one night, let them show you what you can do. The team of Kid and Gabriel can do amazing things. Apparently Gabriel's injured right now, I haven't really looked into that, but Kid and Gabriel, when they're both at 100%, yeah, and you've got the fucking Usos right there to compete with Epico and Primo. So you've got four legit teams there. Why are you not showcasing your tag team championship? And why are you forming random joke tag teams that can't do very much? Khali can't do fuck all because his legs are shot. Big Show already has a championship. So let him do that over on SmackDown. it was great to see the champs on Raw, but it was horrible to see how they were used. So how do you want to address that? I'll leave it up to you guys. Leave your thoughts in the description box below, as my buddy NJ would say. Fave 5. What can we say? Orton wasn't there tonight, so more taunts from Kane go unanswered. Rhodes wasn't there tonight, so yeah. Ziggler was in that mess with Brodus Clay. My buddy The Miz, who is undefeated since WrestleMania, undefeated at WrestleMania, was not on Raw tonight, which made me sad. Punk is on a rocket to the moon. He had a great match with Mark Henry tonight on Raw. He had a great match with Jericho at WrestleMania. They're going to repeat that great match under hardcore rules, at Extreme Rules. That's going to be amazing, and that's why CM Punk is my MVP for this week's Monday Night Raw review. That's about it. I hope you guys now have a further understanding of why I am so excited to be a wrestling fan. Right now, in this current moment, sitting in this chair right now after watching that show over there, I am loving being a wrestling fan right now. I am excited. Are you guys excited? Tell me down there why you're excited. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep this conversation going. Do not be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later. I am tagging out. Bye.
Get up, come on, get down with the